Guys, it's your girl Cindy. Welcome back again to another video. If you are new here, hi, my name is Cindy. Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. Okay, so I know I have not been posting videos. Christmas period was really a busy one for me, families coming together, and I must say that I enjoyed every bit of it. But I sincerely apologize for not, posting videos, making videos for you. But here I'm back, and this is 2025. Happy New Year to you all. So this is my first video in 2025, and it hurts me so much that this happened in 2025. I can't believe this. Not trigger warning. If you feel triggered, please kindly click out. So I want to introduce to you Erin Stratman, this white man right here, who is currently in jail. I don't know if you have heard about the story because this is what is trending all over social media platforms. Now, what did she do? So she was arrested for breaking the bones of 7 black NICU babies. What is going on? We are literally just 7 days into the year 2025, and this is happening. Now, I can't make this up because I have seen a couple of videos on TikTok, and of course, I decided to ask Google, like I always say, do your research. So I went, on Google and I asked Google what is going on, and this is what I found. It says Virginia nightmare nurse Erin Stratman accused of racism as she targeted black babies by fracturing their legs. Now, I had to read further, okay? A twisted nurse accused of breaking the legs of 7 newborn babies in her care has been branded a racist who targeted black children. Erin Stratman has been charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse over the incident of Henrico Doctors Hospital in Richmond, Virginia. Guys, I have put together a few videos. I just want us to hear from these people. Perhaps we are going to get the full tea. We are going to get the full gist. Now, note that this video is for educational purposes only. It is not to bully anyone or harass anyone, but it's just to create awareness because people really need to know about this. I'm beginning to understand why some women decide to have their babies at home. Because this is crazy. They are innocent children. Why would you do this to them? Simply because they are black. Please, I have put together a few videos. Check them out.
I've told you guys a lot of fucked up stories on this page, but this one is particularly fucked. A nurse in Virginia is in jail tonight. Her name is Erin Stratman for allegedly deliberately breaking the bones of black NICU babies. I actually think that's like one of the worst fucking sentences I've ever said out loud in my life. A nurse is in jail for deliberately breaking the bones of black premature infants. Before you even ask, you know exactly what she looks like. She was working at Henrico Doctors Hospital in Richmond, Virginia. And according to the hospital, there were at least 3 infants in the month of November who had unexplained fractures, all of them being black. 4 other black babies suffered similar injuries over the course of the summer. She is thankfully being held without bond at Henrico County Jail and has a court date set in March 24th to be exact. And this is actually the craziest part to me because the hospital knew that this was going on. She was put on paid administrative leave for an entire year in 2023. Came back to work, came back to her job in 2024, harmed more babies, and just now she's being put in jail? You're telling me you had a nurse that you knew was harming newborn, like neonatal infants, and you put her back on the floor? I hope these families sue fucking everybody. I hope you sue everybody. And I used to get really defensive when people would say that nursing is the equivalent of cops for white ladies. But I get it now.
Listen, as a nurse, you took an oath to take good care of your patients. What is this that we are seeing? What is this that we are hearing? So I went further to read, about this woman, what she did, her evil act, and it says the 26-year-old has been accused of initially injuring only Black babies by staff in the hospital, with sources saying she switched her focus when she returned to the hospital in late 2024. So, they knew about this. She's been reported. She was accused. Okay. And then this same hospital let her in late 2024. So does it mean there was no proper investigation carried out? Anyways, let's proceed with some videos. I'm going to show you some screenshots of comments. Obviously, people are reacting to it. People are dropping comments. Like, this is inhuman. Check these videos out.
This 26-year-old monster, Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman from Virginia, was arrested on malicious wounding and felony child abuse as she was going around the NICU breaking the bones of Black babies. I cannot make this up. As if Black women didn't have enough to worry about when giving birth. In 2021 alone, the maternal mortality rate for non-Hispanic Black women in the U.S. was 69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births. This is nearly 3 times the rate of non-Hispanic white women. Studies say some of the contributing factors to this are the cumulative physiological effects of chronic stress. Nobody's disrespected more than Black women in this country. Nobody has more obstacles and barriers to face in this country, to overcome in this country, than Black women. But I dare to say that the number one reason is because of racial bias in healthcare. So apparently what happened is that these young babies were having unexplained fractures, so the hospital increased surveillance, and the surveillance systems found her breaking the bones of these babies. Now, typically babies that are in NICU are already fighting for dear life, and then you've got monsters like this that are going out there and deliberately, maliciously causing harm. I personally spent 10 years in prison, and I can assure you it will not be nice to her.
Just in case you thought systemic racism wasn't a thing, let's take a look at this story of a Caucasian nurse who's been breaking the bones of NICU infants. Yes, you heard that right, NICU infants. While they're in the NICU, trying to hold on for dear life, grow, put on some weight, bond with their caregivers, and make it successfully out of there so that they can go on to live their lives. She's trying to end their lives before they even started. And to think that she was granted paid administrative leave just goes to show you how systemic this racism is. If this is not a sign for us to rally up, get our money up, either leave or be our own bosses, and ensure that we're not entrusting the care of our precious little children to people who could potentially want to harm them, I don't know what is. I am livid. I'm sad. I'm heartbroken for the families of those babies, and I hope they get the justice they deserve by her being, yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
Going around the NICU, breaking the bones of Black babies.
That's funny. She doesn't look illegal. She didn't look like she crossed the border illegally, unless it was Canada. And yet here she is, harming babies, children. I guess her name is too long for y'all to, put into some sort of goofy song though, right? You gonna say those babies' names? Because it ain't the first time she did it. This is the time she got caught, but this is not the first time she's done this. So all of you save the babies, protect the babies folk against the illegals. Are you going to say this woman's name? You're going to plaster her picture all over the place? You're going to go into lives talking about how she's violent towards children? I would hold my breath to see whether you would, but then I'd be dead.
You know, I've told you guys a lot of fucked up stories on this page, but this one is particularly fucked.
When people see stories like this and they talk about how heartbroken they are, I don't get heartbroken. I get angry. Because as a person who was born prematurely, as a person who was abandoned by their mother, luckily I had someone there that cared about. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be heartbroken, but there should be more anger than anything because this is still happening in real time today. Lord knows how much she's actually gotten away with before this was discovered. Imagine you being 3 times more likely to unalive on the table giving birth, only for said child to then be tortured. Why would I bring a child here?
Or allegedly deliberately breaking the bones of Black.
This story single-handedly convinced me that if I ever give birth, it'll be at home or at some kind of alternative birthing center, because this is, as a Black femme, the medical system is where I have faced the most racism, the most blatant disrespect out of any sphere in life. You know, experience racism in a lot of different ways out of different places, but most often it's in the medical system. So while I am shocked, like this is a shocking story, it makes sense that this would happen within the medical system. And we live in like medical apartheid. We live in an apartheid system when it comes to healthcare based, you know, on race and on class.
I've been in such a state of shock after seeing the NICU nurse that was arrested in Virginia for abusing babies, specifically babies of color. And I did a contract there in 2021. And I'm pretty sure I saw her in passing, but obviously I was in the OR. I was not in the NICU. I've never worked in the NICU a day in my life, but I've seen a lot of NICU nurses weighing in on, oh, well, NICU nurses are never alone with a baby. Like, how is this possible for her to do this so many times? And why did that hospital system let her back? And all I'm going to say, as somebody that did a contract at that hospital, is they are chronically understaffed. Chronically understaffed. Our nurse manager at the time was a traveler. We had so much turnover in the operating room and could not keep staff. There were times where I worked 20 hours straight being called in the middle of the night because they were that short-staffed. That's how that happened. And it's unsafe, it's unacceptable, but I pray that bringing this to light will protect future babies there. And the fact that people like that still exist in healthcare is so disheartening, but it is a reality. And nurses, if you see something, if you hear comments from anybody, report, because we have to protect these patients. As healthcare professionals, we take an oath to protect these patients. And even if you weren't directly involved in it, if you see anything concerning, if people are not treating patients equally, ethically, report it. I saw enough of that in Alabama, and I know that it is very real and completely exists, and it is so sad, but we've got to do a better job of reporting these kind of people and getting them out of healthcare, because that should never happen.
Let's talk about the case of Erin Strotman, who is charged with malicious wounding of a child and felony child abuse as she worked in the NICU as a nurse. From the perspective of an emergency room nurse. I'm going to say it now before I go any further, but this is a huge trigger warning to this story as it does involve abuse of children. Erin Strotman is 26 years old and, according to the Board of Nursing, received her nursing license that is still currently active in May of 2019. It is unclear when she first actually accepted her position, but she ended up working at Henrico Doctors Hospital in Virginia. This case is just literally at the tip of the iceberg, if you ask me, but it involves multiple children that were born premature and had prolonged stays in the NICU where she worked. The investigation was started around November of 2024 when a father had concerns that he had received notification that one of his premature twin babies had received a tibia fracture during his stay in the NICU. Premature babies unfortunately do suffer breaks from time to time due to the fact that their bones are very, very, very fragile. However, this baby that I will not name suffered a tibia fracture, which is one of the longer bones in your leg. This, rightfully so, caused huge red flags for the parents as they were caring for their other twin. They went up the chain to the hospital to file an official complaint so that an investigation could ensue, which it did. Prior to this case being investigated, there were former complaints or at least documentation of at least 4 other babies in the summer of 2023 that had also had unexplained fractures occur. Why in God's name this wasn't investigated at that time, I will never understand. Because these parents filed a former complaint, there was a huge case brought forward and official investigation started. This meant that this NICU then went on a lockdown. It had major changes to the security of it to include that there was 24/7 live streaming within the department. Within the time frame of late November and December of 2024, there was an estimated 3 other babies that were harmed during this time. The case at this time that's being investigated involves 7 babies. As we all know, once you uncover those, there are multiple more, most likely. Henrico Doctors Hospital actually put a stop to accepting new NICU babies, so anybody that was born there that needed a NICU stay was transferred out, and they closed their doors to accepting new babies in the NICU at this time. One of the cases that's being investigated involves a NICU baby that had a prolonged stay there that suffered at least 12 fractures during their stay. Let's talk about this from the perspective of an emergency room nurse. Unfortunately, in the ER, we get a lot of child abuse cases. Obviously, once the children are stable enough to do so, because some are not, we will do something that is called a skeletal survey. A skeletal survey involves a certain type of imaging that allows us to look at all of the bones of the children's body, but it will tell us where there are new fractures as well as where there are old. Bones leave a certain indentation when something has been broken, and those stay forever. Personally, having to do skeletal surveys on babies is gut-wrenching because it tells the whole truth. Essentially paints the entire picture of things you don't want to know. I'm assuming at this point that all of these children that were at some point in her care will go back and have skeletal surveys, and that will be a part of her case. She is sitting in jail in Virginia without bond, facing 1 count of malicious injury to a child, which can face up to 20 years, as well as felony child abuse, which can face up to 10 years. But I'm sure as this case goes on and more is investigated, they will find out that there are more children that she has put her hands on, and those years will just go up. I think all of us can completely agree as to where Erin should spend the rest of her life, which is never being able to step foot out of a prison, as well as never being able to see the day of light again.
Guys, honestly, I can't imagine what the parents of these children are going through right now. The least you could do as a nurse is to take care of them, reassure their parents. You took an oath, remember? You took an oath to protect, to take care of your patients. What's going on? Honestly, I'm beginning to understand why women choose to give birth at home, because before I was saying it doesn't make sense. Why don't you just go to the hospital and have your babies? But now I know this must be one of the reasons. Because as a mother, as a father, you want to keep an eye on your child. Anyways, I took some screenshots of comments, you all know how we do it here. So you guys can see what other people said, about this whole story about Erin Strutman. She is currently in jail, as we all know, and a lot of people are happy that she is, facing this, like she is in jail. Basically, people are happy about that. Now, on your screen are some of these comments. Please pause to read if you want to. I want to be reading out these comments for you, because some people were like, if I can try and be reading out some comments. I decided to, just try it. Please bear with me. Now, on your screen are some of these comments. Like I said, now this person says, as a Black NICU baby, I'm ready to fight. And this person says, white people will always hate Black people. This person says, I guess who the nurse voted for. My preemie had all the skin, nose to ear, ripped off one side of his face. I was told he did it himself. Make it make sense. He did it himself. Now, this person says the NICU nurses thought I was insane because I was the only parent who stayed overnight while all other parents would go home or to their suites at night. While I stayed in the NICU, I stayed awake because I could not handle the idea of nurses having 24/7 access to my baby. I experienced, some really lovely nurses. However, there were a few who would speak so badly over some of the babies at night, not knowing that I was still in the unit. This is a thing, right? If you feel that you are tired of the job, why don't you resign? If you feel that it's becoming overwhelming, resign. Instead of harming these babies, they are innocent. Anyways, y'all, I don't know what to say. Like, we all really need to be watchful. We all really need to be careful out there. Do not leave your babies to strangers. Do whatever it takes to stay with your baby in the hospital, because there are still loads of them in the hospital. Anyways, let me know what you all think in the comment, what you have to say. I want to know. I want to hear from you. And please remember to share this video and keep the comments respectful. Of course, I'm going to see you all in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Take care and have a beautiful day. Bye.